let's just go by the way the Constitution reads, the way things are supposed to be.
It was really nice to see that judge do that, because that judge, African-American judge, says this isn't about race, this isn't about gender, this is about the Constitution. And she said those folks had a right to question the authority of that. That was a wonderful moment. Yeah, we saw that. I watched that live. Yeah, it was great. Great news.
Big win.
All right.
Take it away.
Gruber, see you tomorrow, brother. All right, folks. 4 p.m., a little after that, a couple seconds after that. Tuesday markets are closed. Let's take a look at what they did. The Dow Jones, across the board, quiet trading, because tomorrow, a big number. Producer price index tomorrow, and then Thursday, consumer price, CPI, consumer price index. We're going to find out if things cost more or not in America. Feels like they do a little bit. I think the inflation numbers are going to be fairly tame. So I think these are all good. Markets crept up across the board. You can see the equity numbers. Gold held its own, down $8, but still $3,700 area. That's amazing for gold. Oil up. We don't like to see that. And then crypto, not so great in the cryptos today. Bitcoin was down. Ethereum was down. CRO was up. XRP was down. So there it is. Crypto is a little bit mixed. Again, expect more activity tomorrow and Thursday. Also, this happened. This was wonderful. This was amazing. If you didn't see it, I brought this for you because you'll love it. Border Czar Tom Homan. He was on with MSNBC's Mika. Remember we talked about her yesterday? Completely put her in her place after she said ICE disappears people. Watch.
I'd love some transparency as to why a lot of these people have been disappeared. You say you have data. We would love to see it. The American people should see this data.
Well, here's the rhetoric again, right? You just meant disappeared. That was a ridiculous thing to say.
Why?
Because ICE is doing the same thing we've done for decades. But because of the last 4 years, ICE wasn't allowed to enforce the law. ICE was told to sit back, and you can't arrest an illegal alien for simply being here illegally. You got to wait till they commit a serious crime and get convicted of that crime. That's the Secretary Mayorkas' instructions were. And that's why you saw there's so much crime in this country coming from the illegal alien population, because there's no law enforcement. But we're doing the same thing right now that we did when I started back in 1984. ICE agents are enforcing the laws enacted by Congress. They're appropriated funding to enforce these laws. If you don't like what ICE is doing, then go protest Congress. However, to say we disappear people, no. We're arresting people that are in the country illegally and are a public safety threat. We know exactly who we're going to arrest when we go look for them. We have a case file in front of us. We have all those facts. This is not disappearing people. This is a planned, targeted enforcement operation that we're doing. And the comments that you just made is one of the reasons why these men and women are under threat every day. Not just the men and women in ICE, but their spouses and their children. They're not disappearing people. They're enforcing the law.
I love that, right? So she teed him up. He went, and Mika just had that face. She made that face like she was smelling something bad the whole time. He just laid into her. He's right. He's 100% right. And speaking of immigration, one of the big issues at these town halls when conservative Congress people go back to their districts, one of the big issues are these deportations. Well, Andy Ogles from Tennessee had a bit of a run-in with one of those. Watch. Well, let's bring in our first guest, the congressman from Tennessee whose town hall was almost disrupted by masked Marxists. Congressman Andy Ogles decided to confront these cowards, and take a look how this all went down.
Hey, wait. Touch me. Don't touch me. Don't touch me. You can stay there and talk to me, but don't touch me. Don't touch me. You understand me? Don't touch me. Away from Tennessee. All right. I'm from here. My family helped start this state. That doesn't matter. And we are not backing down. And I'm not going anywhere. I'm not going anywhere. You support the cutting of the Why don't you take off your mask? Why are you such a coward? Take off your mask. Hey, I'm right here. Take off your mask. Take off your mask. Take off your mask. Take off your mask. Because you're not a man. Are you hiding behind your mask? You're hiding. You're hiding. Don't touch me, dude.
Wasn't that great? Well, let's bring in Congressman Andy Ogles. Congressman, it was tremendous. I just love the part where you pivoted on them. Take off the mask. Big shot. None of them were willing to show their face, but they wanted that First Amendment freedom to protest, didn't they?
Well, look, my only request was take off your mask and talk to me like a man. But instead, all they wanted to do was shout, yell, and scream profanities. And look, I'm willing to have a conversation with anyone, but if all you're going to do is cuss at me, then so be it. But look, I stood my ground. We had a great town hall, had, 50, 60 people on the inside. And I figured I would go out and at least, entertain questions. Heck, I'll take a selfie with you if you want. But instead, they tried to intimidate me and try to push me around. And quite frankly, I'm not going to back down here in Washington, D.C., and I'm not going to back down at home either.
It's amazing that we see these pictures. We see these pictures of people protesting. And Tesla plants throwing bricks through them, throwing bricks at cops. I've been to these protests, Congressman, and they'll have these signs and they'll bang you in the head with a sign. And so, or they'll spit on you. It's incredible the tactics that the left uses to peaceful, and I'm using the air quotes, peacefully protest.
Well, it is absolutely absurd. And quite frankly, they're not interested in a dialogue because they can't win a debate on the facts because all they can do is yell and scream. They want their version of America, which, by the way, attacking police officers and burning cars and rioting in the streets is not my version of America. I want young women and families to be able to walk down the street and to be safe. You look at crime in Nashville. The radical liberal mayor of Nashville has tried to say that he's tough on crime, and yet Nashville is number 8 on the violent crime list, which is why I've told him if you don't start doing your job, if you don't empower the police department in Nashville, I will personally call the president and ask him to bring the National Guard to Nashville.
Now, what were they protesting? I mean, I saw a bunch of Trump signs in there, and I get the other question. The follow-up is sometimes giving them airtime is all the fuel they need to do it more. So your thoughts on that? I mean, I believe in exposing them for what they are, but some people would say, well, you're showing them on TV, they're going to continue to do it.
Well, look, they have a right to assemble and to peacefully protest. Now, the difference between, our side and their side is that, we might show up and express our disdain for the other side, but we're not going to disrupt the meeting. We're not going to be rude and hateful, right? We clean up our mess on the way out. These people, again, all they want to do is yell because they have nothing to stand on. They'd rather be out there yelling and screaming, complaining about the fact that President Trump has secured the border. President Trump has made Washington, D.C. safe. He's committed to, fighting crime. And then when you look at the economy, look, we're hitting our jobs numbers. They're exactly where they need to be. And we've seen with the revisions of the Biden jobs numbers where they had inflated the job market almost by 1 million jobs. And so this is a situation where we're going to have rate cuts. You're going to see this economy take off. And President Trump is going to be validated that if you're tough on crime, if you fight for the American economy, if you put the globalists in their place, we will enter the golden age, the new golden age of America.
President Trump sent the troops into Washington, and crime's just like the violent crime is just crashing there in a good way, in the positive way. I think at one point over 3 weeks there was only 3 homicides. One of the most violent cities in America. It clearly works, but I am that libertarian that says I just don't want government to get too involved in our personal lives, and that would be government involvement on the good side. It's still, you have to juxtapose that. Your mayor of Nashville. Freddie O'Connor, is that his name? Freddie O'Connor?
Freddie O'Connor.
Oh, Freddie O'Connor.
And I totally agree with you.
Very liberal, but go ahead. Yeah, take it.
I totally agree. Any time that we move forward and the federal government is having to get involved and, quite frankly, securing the streets. Look, crime in Washington, D.C. has evaporated. They said it couldn't be done. President Trump has proved them wrong. Now, look, we have to honor the Constitution. We have to set the right kind of precedent. But if you have a mayor, if you have a governor that is going to willfully let their citizens be victims, we have an obligation to stand up for the American people. That's what President Trump is doing. That's what he's demonstrated with Washington, D.C. And again, whether it's Chicago, Memphis, Boston, or Nashville, do your dang job, secure the streets, because President Trump has proven that it can be done.
Now, you introduced the bill, I believe, A7.1. Allowing Trump to continue what he's doing in D.C., extend the period. It's supposed to be a 30-day period. Tell us about it. Where does it stand?
Yeah, so I've talked to Leader Scalise about this. Essentially what it does, it allows for rolling authorizations where the president would justify to Congress that he needs an extension. But look, I've talked to people on the streets. You've seen folks taking to X and to Instagram and the other forms of social media, shop owners saying, look, I can operate my business and I'm not going to be robbed. I can go to the grocery store and I'm not going to be mugged. I feel safe going outside. People haven't felt safe in this city for a very long time. And that's a shame because it literally is the front porch of our nation. nation. It is they're literally that shining city on a hill, and it's not safe to go out. And again, these other mayors, President Trump has proven it can be done. The left said you couldn't secure the border. President Trump has secured the border. They've said you can't fight crime. President Trump has fought crime. And even in Nashville, you look at some of the folks that are outstanding. They're all wanted: murder, rape, assault, deadly weapon. You have an individual who held an 8-year-old hostage with a gun during a carjacking, then later murdered someone. These are the types of people that the liberal left are defending. Meanwhile, President Trump, myself, other God-loving, law-abiding citizens are tired of this crap. And again, you look at North Carolina, the attack on the train, and the young woman lost her life. That individual should have never been out.
I was literally going to say that. I was going to bring that out next and control me if you can roll that video and let the congressman talk over it a little bit. And think about this for a second, folks. These people are complaining. They're protesting the right for what happened in North Carolina to continue. A hardened guy who's been 14 times he's been arrested. He's still out in the street. Criminal aliens killing our people, raping and killing our women and children. And these people, well, that's the subway in North Carolina, light rail in North Carolina, 23-year-old murdered by a guy stabbing. 14 times that guy was arrested prior. The judge magistrate let him out. But roll the video of Congressman Ogles and that crowd. And Congress, tell us what's going through your mind when these guys seem to want to confront you until you got in their face. You could see them backing up.
Well, I mean, it's just one of those that, we the people have had enough. I've had enough. My constituents have had enough. And quite frankly, my guess is most of those people that were at the town hall that were protesting profanities, yelling and screaming weren't actually from the district. But that being said, I went out there to talk to them, to speak with them. And I'll take a selfie with you if you want to take a selfie. I'll answer your questions. Now, you can do the respect and be a man and take off your mask instead of hiding behind it. But again, they're cowards. And this is the type of behavior you see from cowards. And then talking about the attack on the train, you have a young woman. She fled Ukraine. She's come here. She's contributing to society. She just finished a shift at work. She gets on the train and she's literally thinking, I'm going to go home, prop up my feet, go about my life. And this guy that should have been in prison stands up, no provocation, and kills her. Enough is enough. Why are the left defending these individuals? And you look at the fast boat, right, where President Trump blows up a narco terrorist. We're bringing fentanyl into this country, and the left is now defending the cartels and narco terrorists who are poisoning our kids. I mean, this is their argument. This is what they're going to run on in this next election, which is why they're going to lose, because America, again, has had enough. And, I'm on financial services. I affectionately called it the nerd committee. I do forecast that we're going to have 1, 2, maybe even 3 quarter-point rate cuts, and what that's going to do for the economy and the housing market. I'm actually going to reach out to the secretary and see if we can't do something about PMI insurance and see if we can bring that down for that first-time home buyer. So there's a lot of creative things we can do to be proactive, to help that first-time family get into home, to help that middle-class family move up. This is what President Trump has promised, and this is what he is delivering.
Yeah, it's one of those things. It's a growing movement, kind of getting government to maybe tax our property a little bit less every which way they possibly can. Congressman Ogles, keep up the great work. Appreciate your time. Andy Ogles from the great state of Tennessee, which is kind of purple, which has got me scratching my own head. We got to get that thing back red, sir.
Hey, I'm working on it.
Working on it, Werner. Thank you for your time.
Absolutely.
All right, folks, did you hear? I don't know, I've been talking about it. The big banks canceling President Trump. Don't reward those big banks. Move your money to Old Glory Bank. I opened an account at Old Glory Bank. It took me like 10 minutes. I did it over the internet. It was easy. They've always been pro-America, and they put faith, family, and country first because of their great online banking. It's amazing. They have people who talk to you in English, believe it or not. They serve customers in all 50 states. I know their great founders, such as Secretary Ben Carson and John Rich. I love these great Americans and this bank. Please go to oldglorybank.com/Rav today. Join the right side of banking. Again, that's oldglorybank.com/Rav. Go there. They're good folks at the bank. Okay. It's less inside of a week. Inside of a week. We're going to run a few more times. It's where grit meets perseverance, goes into the fire, and comes out standing. Watch.
The fire doesn't care who you are. It tests you. It breaks most men. But if you rise through it, you'll find the edge. The edge. a no politics zone built for risk and resilience. No politics, only pressure.